Some people don't manipulate you with anger. They manipulate you with kindness. They show up fast. They help without being asked. They remember the little details. And on the surface, you feel lucky. You tell yourself at least they care. But then something strange happens. After every conversation, you feel smaller. You replay your words. You feel guilty for wanting space. You start choosing peace over truth. Not because you're calm, but because you're afraid of being seen as ungrateful. That's the trap. Kindness can be love, or it can be a leash. Real kindness leaves you freer. Fake kindness makes you dependent emotionally, socially, even financially. It creates debt. It creates guilt. It slowly teaches you that your boundaries are hurtful and their comfort is your responsibility. In this video, I'll show you 7 clear signs their kindness is actually control, and the Stoic way to respond: calm, sharp, and unshakably self-respecting. 1. Their help always comes with a hidden debt. At first, it looks like generosity. They offer help before you even ask. They pay for something. They handle a problem you didn't even mention. They say, "Don't worry about it," and you feel relieved, even grateful. In a world where most people are busy, their attention feels rare. Their kindness feels like shelter. But here's the signal that gives it away. Their kindness doesn't make you feel supported. It makes you feel obligated. You don't feel lighter. You feel watched. You feel like you owe them a future. Because later, when you try to choose your own path, the help turns into a receipt. Not openly at first. It comes wrapped in disappointment, in sadness, in "I'm just hurt." They'll say things like, "After everything I've done for you," or "I thought you'd be different." The words are soft, but the message is hard. Comply or you'll be punished with guilt. With family, this can be the most confusing. A parent may genuinely love you, yet still use sacrifice as leverage. "I gave up my life for you" becomes less a story of devotion and more a tool to steer your decisions. You start living like your freedom is borrowed. Every boundary feels like betrayal. Every independent choice feels like you're breaking a sacred rule. With friends, it shows up as help that slowly buys access. They lend money, introduce you to connections, cover you in public. Then they begin to claim your time. "Come on, you owe me." Or worse, they don't say it directly. They sulk, withdraw, and let you chase them back into control. The friendship becomes a balance sheet where you're always behind. In relationships, this tactic is even more dangerous because it's mixed with affection. They bring gifts, do favors, make grand gestures, then later use them to negotiate your obedience. "I did that for you, so why can't you do this for me?" A favor becomes a chain, a gift becomes a claim, and you feel selfish for wanting space. The Stoic truth is simple: gratitude is a virtue, but obligation is not. Real kindness is freely given. It doesn't demand repayment in the form of your silence, your access, or your agreement. If help is used to control your choices, it was never help. It was a contract you didn't sign. So respond with calm precision. Don't argue. Don't explain for 10 minutes. Don't defend your character. Say one clean line: "I appreciate what you did, but I'm not available for that." If they push guilt back into you, add, "Gratitude doesn't mean obligation." If you feel your chest tighten when you say no, start smaller. Delay your answer. "Let me think." Repeat it. Write it down. Practice with low-stakes requests. Each time you do, you train your nervous system to choose self-respect over approval. Then hold the boundary. Watch their reaction. A healthy person may feel disappointed, but they will respect you. A controlling person will escalate, guilt trip, or punish you with coldness. And that response will tell you the truth their kindness tried to hide. 2. They rescue you, then decide for you. At first it feels like safety. You're stressed, overwhelmed, unsure what to do, and they step in like a hero. They handle the phone calls, They fix the problem. They speak for you. They say, "Relax, I've got it." In that moment, it feels like love. But slowly, the rescue becomes a steering wheel. You start noticing a pattern. The more they help, the less room you have to choose. They don't just support your decision, they replace it. They don't just offer advice, they pressure you into agreement. And if you hesitate, they act like your hesitation is evidence you're weak, confused, or ungrateful. This often happens in families. A parent might say, "You don't know how the world works. Let me handle it." They make calls. They speak to your boss. They decide where you should live, who you should date, what career is safe. You tell yourself they're protecting you. But protection that removes your agency isn't protection anymore. It's control with a warm voice. It happens in friendships too. One friend becomes the fixer. They always know what's best. They tell you what to say, what to post, who to cut off, what move to make next. At first, you're grateful because it feels like guidance, but soon you realize you're not allowed to disagree without consequences. When you push back, they act wounded. They say, "Fine, do whatever you want," with a tone that means, "You'll regret not listening to me." In relationships, the rescuer can be even more seductive. They step in when you're emotionally vulnerable. They say, "I'll take care of you." And you melt, because deep down, you want someone strong. But then they start deciding what you should wear, who you should talk to, what you should believe. They frame it as love. "I'm only trying to help you become better." Yet the better version of you always looks like someone easier to manage. Here's the Stoic problem with being rescued too often. Your confidence is built through choosing, through mistakes, through owning consequences. When someone keeps taking the wheel, you don't just lose options, you lose yourself. Over time, you start asking permission for things that don't require permission. You hesitate before speaking, you edit your desires, you become careful, not calm. Stoicism teaches a different kind of strength. Accept help, but never surrender your authorship. You can appreciate support while still saying, "I decide." That sentence isn't rebellion, it's responsibility. So the Stoic response is simple and firm. First, pause. Don't let their urgency turn into your obedience. Then name the boundary without emotion. "I appreciate your support, but I'm going to decide this myself." If they push, repeat it without changing your tone. Don't over-explain. The more you explain, the more they negotiate. If they try to shame you, you're stubborn, you never listen, you're making a mistake. Stay on principle. "I hear you, and I'm still choosing." You're not asking them to agree, you're informing them of reality. And this is the test. Watch how they respond when they can't control the outcome. A healthy person might worry, might advise, but they will respect your agency. A controlling rescuer will get colder, louder, or more dramatic because your independence threatens their role. Remember, real support makes you stronger. Control makes you dependent. The goal isn't to reject help. The goal is to keep your hands on your own life. 3. Compliments that quietly shrink you. Not all control sounds harsh. Sometimes it sounds like praise. They look at you with a warm smile and say, "You're so easy to talk to. You're so understanding. You're not like other people. You're calm, mature, low drama." In the beginning, it feels good. It feels like you're being seen. It feels like you're being valued. But then you notice something. Every compliment comes with an invisible instruction. The praise isn't just describing you, it's shaping you. It's telling you what role you're allowed to play, and that role is always convenient for them. With family, it can sound like this: "You're the good one. You're the one who understands me." Translation: don't ever become the one who disagrees. Don't ever be the one who says no. Don't ever bring conflict to the table, because your job in this family is to absorb it, so you learn to swallow your needs to keep the image alive. With friends, it's often more subtle. They say, "I love that you don't take things personally," right after they cross a line, or "You're so chill," right before they do something disrespectful. The compliment becomes a trap. If you react normally, you break the identity they just gave you, and suddenly you feel guilty. You start thinking, "Maybe I'm being too sensitive." That's how they rewrite your instincts without ever arguing. In relationships, this can be one of the cleanest manipulation tools. They say, "You're different. You don't cause problems." They reward your silence. They praise you most when you tolerate what you shouldn't. Then the moment you finally speak up, they act shocked. "This isn't you. Why are you acting like this?" As if having a boundary is a personality flaw. The goal is simple: keep you predictable, keep you manageable, keep you afraid of disappointing them. That's why it feels like shrinking. You start editing yourself to stay good. You become polite when you need to be clear. You become quiet when you need to be honest. You become agreeable when you need to be respected. Over time, you confuse self-control with self-erasure. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Yes, be calm. Yes, be measured, but never trade truth for approval. A Stoic doesn't perform peace. A Stoic lives in integrity. If you're only calm because you're afraid to be disliked, that isn't discipline, it's surrender. So here's the Stoic move: separate the compliment from the leash. When someone praises you in a way that pressures you to tolerate disrespect, respond with clarity, not emotion. You can smile and still be firm. You can be respectful and still refuse the role. Try lines like, "I appreciate that, but I'm still going to be honest here. Being calm doesn't mean I accept this. I can understand you and still disagree." And if they push, if they say you've changed, stay steady. "No, I'm just being clear." A healthy person will adjust. They'll respect the real you. A controlling person will try to pull you back into the old role because the old role made their life easier. Remember this: compliments are not proof of love. They're just words. The real question is, what happens when you stop performing the version of yourself that benefits them? If your maturity is only celebrated when you stay silent, then it was never respect. It was training, kind in public, controlling in private. This is one of the most confusing signs because it makes you doubt your own mind. In public, they're generous, charming, helpful. They speak about you like you're precious. They hold the door, smile at your friends, act like the most supportive person in your life. If you ever tried to explain what happens behind closed doors, people would look at you like you're exaggerating. And that's exactly why it works. When someone is kind in public and controlling in private, they're not just managing you. They're managing the story. They're building a reputation as the good one, so you're less likely to be believed and more likely to silence yourself. In families, this can look like a relative who's sweet at gatherings, praising you in front of everyone, then later cornering you and correcting your choices like a supervisor. They'll say it like guidance, but it lands like judgment. "Why did you say that?" "Don't dress like that." "You embarrassed me." The warmth is reserved for the audience. The control is reserved for you. With friends, it often shows up as public loyalty and private dominance. They hype you up in a group chat, then later criticize you one-on-one, undermine your confidence, or demand constant access to your time. If you pull back, they act offended. "After all the support I give you." They want witnesses for their kindness, but privacy for their pressure. In relationships, this pattern is brutal. In public, they're the perfect partner, affectionate, attentive, respectful. People say, "You're so lucky." But in private, they become different. They monitor your tone. They interrogate your intentions. They turn small disagreements into moral failures. And because everyone sees their public sweetness, you start doing something dangerous. You start blaming yourself. You tell yourself, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I triggered them. Maybe I'm the problem. That's how control becomes invisible. The Stoic lens here is clarity through consistency. A person's character isn't what they perform for strangers. It's what they practice when they have power over you, when no one is watching, when there's no applause, when they can speak without consequences. So don't get hypnotized by public kindness. Pay attention to private patterns. Ask yourself, do I feel relaxed around them when it's just us? Am I free to disagree without punishment? Do they respect my privacy, or do they demand access? Do I feel like I'm always managing their mood? If you feel anxious in private, that anxiety is information, not drama, not weakness. A signal. Now, the Stoic response isn't to accuse them in a heated moment. Accusations turn into debates. Debates become traps. Instead, you change the environment where control survives. You get more specific, more direct, more boundaried. You can say, I'm not continuing this conversation. If it turns into criticism, say, speak to me the same way you speak to me in public. If you need something, ask plainly. Don't pressure me. And if they deny it, what are you talking about? I'm always nice to you. Don't argue. Don't try to convince them. Just protect your reality. A Stoic doesn't beg to be understood. A Stoic chooses what they allow. 5. They use guilt disguised as care. This is where kindness becomes a weapon without ever raising its voice. They don't say, do what I want. They say, I'm just worried about you. They don't say, you're selfish. They say, I'm hurt. They don't say, I need control. They say, if you cared, you would understand. And because it sounds like love, you hesitate, you soften, you start explaining, you try to reassure them, you try to make them feel safe. Before you know it, you're not making decisions based on truth. You're making decisions based on their emotions. That's guilt-based control. In families, it's almost a tradition. A parent says, I can't sleep when you do that, or, after all I've sacrificed for you, this is what I get. They may genuinely feel fear or disappointment, but when those feelings become a lever, the message becomes clear. Your freedom is too expensive. Your choices will cost you love, so you begin to trade your life for peace. With friends, it shows up when you don't respond fast enough, don't show up, don't agree. They don't ask directly, they punish indirectly. They post vague messages, they withdraw. They act wounded. They want you to chase them back into control. And if you confront it, they hide behind innocence. Wow, I can't believe you'd think I'm manipulating you. I guess I'm just a terrible friend. That's not accountability. That's emotional blackmail. In relationships, guilt often wears the costume of care. I only act like this because I love you. If you didn't do that, I wouldn't feel this way. You know I have trust issues, so you should reassure me. Notice the shift. Your partner's insecurity becomes your job. Their mood becomes your responsibility. Their lack of self-control becomes your burden. And if you refuse, you're framed as cold, selfish, or disloyal. The Stoic principle here is brutal but liberating. You are responsible for your actions, not for someone else's feelings about your actions. A person can feel disappointed. A person can feel afraid. A person can feel hurt. Those emotions are real, but they are not a commandment you must obey. If you let guilt control you, you stop living by virtue and start living by approval. So how do you respond without becoming cruel? You don't fight their emotions. You don't insult them. You don't get loud. You use a Stoic move. Bring the conversation back to facts and boundaries. Say, what exactly are you asking me to do? Can you say that as a direct request instead of guilt? I understand you feel hurt, but I'm still choosing this. If they escalate, if they say, so you don't care about me, Don't rush to prove your love. That's the trap. Proving turns into pleading. Pleading turns into surrender. Instead, stay grounded. I care about you, and I'm not doing that. I'm willing to talk, not to be guilted. Your feelings matter, but they don't decide for me. The more consistent you are, the faster the mask slips. Healthy people can handle a boundary. They might feel uncomfortable, but they'll adjust. Controlling people can't handle it because guilt is the tool they depend on. And if you've been living under guilt for years, expect the first boundary to feel wrong. Your body will interpret freedom as danger. That doesn't mean you're doing something bad. It means you're stepping out of a pattern that trained you to obey. 6. They isolate you for your own good. This sign is quiet, but it's one of the most dangerous because it doesn't feel like an attack. It feels like protection. They start by planting small doubts. Are you sure your friend really wants the best for you? Your family doesn't understand you like I do. Those people are a bad influence. They say it with concern, like they're saving you from harm. And if you've been hurt before, part of you wants to believe them. It feels comforting to think someone is finally on your side. But isolation is not care. Isolation is how control becomes permanent. In families, it can look like a parent who constantly criticizes your friends, your partner, your mentors, anyone who might help you grow beyond the family's influence. They don't have to forbid you outright. They just make every relationship outside the home feel exhausting. You come back from seeing friends and get interrogated. You talk about your partner and get judgment. Over time, you stop sharing. Then you stop going, not because you want to, but because it's easier than dealing with the pressure. With friends, it can show up as possessiveness disguised as loyalty. One friend wants to be your main friend. They subtly discourage you from building other connections. They act offended when you spend time elsewhere. They say, "I guess you don't need me anymore," or "You changed after meeting them." The goal isn't closeness, the goal is exclusivity, because exclusivity makes you easier to influence. In relationships, this is where kindness can become a cage. A partner says, "I just don't trust your friends," or "Your family is toxic," or "Why do you need them when you have me?" Sometimes your friends really are unhealthy. Sometimes your family really is difficult. That's what makes this tactic powerful. It hides inside a small truth. But then they push it too far. They don't just encourage healthier boundaries. They encourage a new dependence where your world shrinks until they become your only mirror. And when you only have one mirror, you stop seeing clearly. The Stoic lens is simple. Your mind needs reality checks. You need honest people around you. You need multiple perspectives. Isolation makes you vulnerable to distorted narratives because there's no one left to say, "That's not normal," or "You're not crazy," or "You're allowed to say no." So the Stoic response isn't to argue about each person in your life. That becomes a debate they can win by exhausting you. Instead, you set a principle, say it calmly. I don't make life decisions inside a bubble. 7. When you set a boundary, their kindness turns cold. This is the clearest sign of all, because it's the moment kindness gets tested by reality. As long as you agree, they're sweet. As long as you comply, they're supportive. As long as you stay easy to manage, they feel warm. But the moment you set one honest boundary, one simple no, one request for space, one decision that doesn't include them, the temperature drops. Sometimes it happens instantly. Their face changes, their tone changes. They don't yell, they don't explode. They do something more controlling. They withdraw. They punish you with silence. They become cold, distant, sarcastic, or hurt in a way that makes you feel responsible for fixing it. That's how you know the kindness had conditions. In families, it can look like a parent who says, "Okay, do whatever you want," and then gives you the cold shoulder for days. They might stop calling. They might act like a victim. They might suddenly become sick or sad when you choose your own path. Not because your choice is wrong, but because your independence threatens the role they had over you. With friends, it can be even more obvious. You cancel once, or you don't reply immediately, or you don't do the favor they assumed you would do, and suddenly they're offended. Not disappointed, offended. They make you feel like you broke an unspoken contract. They say things like, "Wow, I didn't expect that from you," or "I guess I know where I stand now." They're not communicating a need, they're enforcing obedience. In relationships, this is where many people get trapped. You set a boundary about privacy, time, communication, or respect, and they frame it as rejection. "So you don't love me? Why are you being cold? Who are you trying to hide?" They turn your boundary into an accusation, then make you defend yourself until you're exhausted. And when you're exhausted, you give in. Not because you changed your mind, but because you want the tension to stop. That's the pattern. Discomfort becomes leverage. Stoicism teaches you to recognize this as a test. A boundary is not a fight, it's a doorway. And whoever gets angry that you have a doorway was never trying to visit you. They were trying to own the house. So your response must be calm and consistent. No speeches, no begging, no chasing the warmth back. Say, "I'm not changing my decision. I'm open to a respectful conversation, not emotional punishment." You're allowed to feel disappointed. I'm still allowed to choose. Then stop feeding the reaction. If they go silent, let the silence stay. If they sulk, don't soothe. If they threaten distance, don't panic. A Stoic doesn't fear discomfort more than they fear losing self-respect. You don't need to call them a manipulator. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to watch the pattern and protect your freedom. Because real kindness doesn't make you feel indebted. It doesn't steal your choices. It doesn't reward your silence and punish your boundaries. Real kindness leaves you with more dignity, more calm, more space to be yourself. So remember the Stoic rule. You can't control what people want from you, but you can control what access they get to you. Your time, your attention, your emotional energy, your decisions. If their care comes with pressure, guilt, isolation, or cold punishment, don't argue, don't chase, don't explain your worth. Stand quietly, speak clearly, hold the boundary. Kindness without freedom isn't kindness, it's control. And the moment you choose self-respect over approval, the game ends.